Hey all, happy Monday. So I just wanted to do a quick screencast to go over a couple things for this week. So first of all, your weekly assignment number three, where you did the definitions basically exercise. So you guys did this in a variety of different ways, but essentially you guys mostly came out with something like this. So you had terrorist organizations, the general location, and some other things that you had picked as far as for categories here. So again, basically some iteration of a chart with information in it, and then your sources listed at the end. So most of you, again, did basically something like this. Now, this was wrong, and only wrong in so much as see what one of your classmates did. And this was actually one of the few individuals that did this, and I don't think I'd mentioned this in this class, but hopefully, I think it was in 302 or 310, but hopefully this will make sense for you, not in just terms of this course, but going further, and how you should be using your sources. So if we were to look at the last person example that basically had information in the chart, and then they had their references here, if the individual didn't cite what information came from where, how would the reader know what piece of information came from where? So we had some of you that had, a good 6, 8 references, which is fantastic. But if you just list all the references down here and don't list where this piece of information came from or this piece of information came from, how is the reader supposed to know what information came from where? So that is a big thing in literature, in scholarly papers, in any sort of assignment or in life. If you're doing something, you're compiling information in a chart, in text. It's great that you have references. It's great that you got information from a lot of different sources, but you need to explicitly cite where each piece of information came from. So again, a lot of you had charts like this. Some of you guys needed to be more specific in your charts, but I wasn't too picky. I believe I even usually gave full credit if you didn't have this information in there. As far as this is sources, references, so your references and your sources had to line up for each cell. This would be the hope. And even so much as getting really nitpicky as even this yes. So how did you know that this was the yes? Was it from this source or was it from this source? So again, wasn't too picky here, more of like something to keep in mind for in the future. For when you have a lot of references, you need to make sure that they line up with the information that you have in whatever you're writing / displaying pictorially. Okay, so there's this week's assignment. So just some overall, so the reading questions this week, you had to have 3 sets of 10. So let's say that you were the asker and you only did 20 questions. Well, of course, you're not going to get full credit. Now, if you were the answerer and you only did 20 questions because you are going to say that the reader only had 20 questions, well, the onus falls on you also as whether you are the asker or the answerer, sorry. You're going to need to know how many questions that you should be asking or answering. It doesn't matter which one you are. So if you answered 20 questions of somebody that asked questions, then you need to answer 10 more of someone else's questions. Now, here is where I should have a word on grading in terms of both peer grading and overall grading. So in terms of peer grading, so yes, I do tend to side with the person that has graded your reading questions if what they say to me makes sense. Now, no, I did not go through and answer each question. So if you ever have grave issues with how you're graded, then please shoot me an email by all means. The peer grading process, the peer feedback process is always, even as instructors and doing scholarly papers and having peer review, like peer review and grading is just not necessarily grading, but peer feedback is just indicative. It's all around us. So here, because your peers are the one that are actually going through all your questions and answering your questions, I feel hopefully that they have a good idea of how your things should be graded. Now again, that if you have a horrible, if you disagree horribly with how you are graded, you can always email me no matter what the assignment. However, I will ask, or I will make sure that you back up your reasoning and logic. And if I have to go through and answer all of your questions so I get a sense and I end up siding with or agreeing with how you're graded, that's going to be a bigger issue going forward. So in terms of grading in general, guys, so I don't like to reduce each assignment down to grades. In so much as I feel like if and this is my philosophy, if you're putting in effort and I see that you're putting in effort, and part of that effort, guys, is turning assignments in on time, which is just indicative of how much effort you're putting into the course in general. So if you're turning in your assignments on time, they're not 5 to 10 minutes to an hour before the due date, and they don't look thrown together, and they seem thoughtful, then you're going to do well in this course. So regardless of if you get a 3 out of 5 on one assignment or a 2 out of 5 on another assignment, just because there is subjectiveness in grading, it is something that we will not be able to get away from. And even in academics, I can write an academic paper and 3 of my colleagues could not like it or like it. It's just how this whole process works. But I want to assure you that over the course of the term, I don't look at your grades as the average. Sure, if you have a 24 average, then you're going to get an F in the course. If you have an 84 and 86, it's all relative to me into how much work you're putting in and to how thoughtful you're doing. Your grade is not going to depend on, if you truly are a student that is putting forth the effort, and I won't even put in a good student because that can vary, right? Like, it's all about time in, where you're in, are you more interested in this course or are you more interested in a major or a minor? Like, it's all relative. It doesn't mean you're a bad student if you're not getting a great grade. It just means you're not placing your time in this area. So I just want to, this was all a rant, if you will, to assure you that I do not just sit here and assign grades that, yes, they have meaning, but I'm not gonna not let you get a good grade if you're a student that's putting forth effort in this course. But I do, as an instructor, especially as an online instructor, and we don't have that interaction, that participation, I have to assign grades. And so you will get grades. You might not always be happy with your grades, but if you're putting forth the effort and communicating with me, you will earn the grade that you think you're going to earn in this class. That will happen. So I hope that helped you guys a little bit in terms of if you're not getting the grades that you think you should, or if you think a lot of this is subjective, or you don't like the peer grading or whatever. Again, it's just another tool, guys. And I still maintain that you will do as well as you want. And my baseline for that is that you're turning in assignments on time that don't look rushed and just haphazardly put together. That is the baseline for me. So please let me know if you have any questions or comments. And I guess lastly, I should say that weekly assignment number 4 looks at terrorism and media framing. It's, I think, interesting, but again, I think most of this is interesting. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Okie doke, bye-bye.